Hey guys, my name is JessiMew, and welcome back to the Fernleaf Islands. In the last episode, Shadow and Galaxy both found this tiny little bridge that connects their territory with the swamplands, and when we left them last, Twilight was actually making her way down here as well. She's kind of using this almost abandoned pathway that some of her ancestors cleared out, and it seems like she is going to run straight into Shadow. I think it's definitely likely that Shadow would at least take the lead, go right in front of his brother to make sure that there's no immediate danger in the area, because of course, they are realizing now that they are probably stumbling straight into a different tribe. They haven't met anyone over here actually, this is going to be their very first time meeting. But before we go too far with this group, like speaking of overprotective siblings, we do have Juniper over here who's trying desperately to protect her little brother Umbra. We actually discovered that the carnivore out in our grass that Oak actually found way off by this tree has returned. I believe if we listen, yeah, then we can actually hear the carnivore way out here. So Juniper is just trying to make sure that Umbra is going to be safe because of course he's like the youngest one in the tribe at the moment aside from his sister Nebula. So I think it's very likely that Juniper is going to ask that Umbra maybe goes off to find his brothers, or at least steers clear of the grass over here because she definitely doesn't want him to get tracked down by the carnivore instead. Because he does have the melanism trait, it makes it much more likely that a carnivore or any type of predator is going to be able to see him because he's not able to hide like all of his other members of his family. She's able to gain a little bit of camouflage because she does have, I believe it's the brown fur that affects her camouflage skills on the regular grass, but unfortunately that doesn't matter for him. Even though he does technically have black fur in his genetics, the melanism trait overrides that and makes it so he can't hide at all. So she's going to request that maybe he goes down toward the stream and tries to stay with the rest of his family over here, and I think he probably will end up following in his brother's footsteps because he strikes me as somebody who would be a little bit more brash than maybe the other members of his family. So I feel like he is definitely going to want to continue his adventures like he was planning. He was actually hoping that maybe he could go off to where Oak is, off in the grass, and go on his own adventures there, or maybe find the place that his father talked about before he passed away, way over here, with all of these other creatures with the same melanism trait as him. But unfortunately, he is going to have to stay where he is well protected because he's so very young. But now we have Shadow and Galaxy to deal with, so let's have Galaxy kind of clear out a little bit of this grass so that we'll be able to make our way back just in case. I'm sure he's keeping a very close eye on their backs just in case they need to retreat. And then we also have Spruce who could come over here and maybe pick up this grass for us, but otherwise he is definitely going to stay right where he can pick up his soggy acorns on the next turn. So we'll leave him right there. We should probably actually have Nebula maybe pick up some of these acorns too because she does have the nimble fingers, and then she can show her mother that she has also learned how to pick the berries too. Her mother did show her on the last turn how to pick up all of those berries from that bush, so I'm sure she's very, very impressed. We can move Willow over here just to make sure that nothing is going to jump out at her baby either. I'm sure she's also a little bit on edge at the moment since we do have this carnivore right in the grass. I'm actually hoping that maybe we could lure him out a little bit too, because as he is right now, he's kind of in like the perfect location. We can't really have Oak circle around him and try to attack him because it's going to take too many turns to get there. We do have this rock in the way, we have this berry bush in the way, so maybe if we could find a way to have Juniper and Oak like lure him out a little bit into the open, then we could actually swarm him and attack him. But until then, let's actually have Shadow come over here and meet Twilight. We could have him stumble right out into the open, and of course this is very, very perfect for us because I believe their immunity genes are completely different, so that's going to be a big help right there. Yeah, he has G and B. He's one of the few males in the entire island who does not have F in his genetics. So it seems like they would be a very, very good match for each other, especially because they both have those big stinky tails. So we know for sure that their babies are going to be able to inherit that, and we're hoping that Twilight is actually going to be the mother of our very first toxic-bodied creatures. Though to do that, we're of course going to have to place that in our mutation menu. So let's go ahead and place the toxic body right in the 30% slot just so that we have a little bit more of a better chance of hopefully getting the toxic body on our babies. The other thing that we need to watch out for, of course, is the no paw that Shadow has. He unfortunately did inherit the Nopal from his father, and of course we want to breed that out as soon as possible. So I think the other thing we're going to place in here is the runner leg. You guys have mentioned, a lot of you guys have mentioned that the runner leg is easier to pass than the velvet paw. So I guess what we'll do is we'll just try to breed the Nopal out of our lines, and then once we take care of that, we'll place the velvet paw in maybe the 30% slot to try to mutate that on our babies before we go to the jungle too. But for now, I mean, why don't we go ahead and have them breed? We'll have Twilight go right over to this nest that they very, very helpfully found together, and then we'll have her just clear out a little bit of this grass too, or maybe pick the berries. That might be a good idea. Thankfully, they both do have the nimble fingers, so they'll be able to gather up a ton of food. And for that matter, maybe their babies will end up inheriting both of their nimble fingers too. We do have quite a few collectors though. The problem is that we don't have too many warriors right now, so I am really hoping that maybe Quicksand can start a little family of her own too. A little family of warriors, because I think that would be particularly fitting for her if she had a bunch of double-clawed babies maybe. But it looks like we have a little bunny back here trying to steal our berries. Oh no, and right where Dusk passed away too. Well, Seashell, I know that you are not going to stand for that. Let's have you jump over here and get this bunny before it picks up all of our berries. We can actually harvest the bunny meat right now. And do we have another one way back here? Oh my gosh, we do. You are trying to steal Rokirku's berries, aren't you? Well, Rokirku is a little bit distracted right now because he has just met Nova. And I think, especially because this is like his childhood home, and you know what? We are going to have to slice this bunny. There we go. Let's just pick up the bunny because it has hopped right next to your Rokirku. But since this is his childhood home and he remembers this place from when he was born, of course, maybe this would be a good place for him to start a family too. So Nova is kind of like our little nomad. She likes to wander around and learn about all of the different tribes in the area. She's already had one child way off in this tribe who is our little budding pacifist just like her father. But I think maybe it would be a good idea for her to have a baby with a Rokirku as well. This is another pairing that we won't have to worry about the stinky tail with because of course they both have the stinky tail in their genetics. So I think that would at least help us in that regard because we know that we'll have even more babies who will be able to successfully pass the stinky tail on in the future. So let's have them breed too. We could actually have her breed with him and then she could drop a nest right down here. And it's very, very fitting because of course this is exactly where he was born too. So in a way he's kind of like migrated back to this area to start a family of his own. Now it looks like we have yet another bunny way over here, and thankfully Midnight is not the type of creature to completely ignore the bunnies. So she's going to hop over here and try to slice this guy for us. There we go. It does look like unfortunately this bunny did steal her berries though, so I guess it did manage to get a nice snack before we snagged it. Elm is going to have to come out of retirement though. I think she has definitely had enough of just lazing around and wandering through the flowers. She wants to find something to eat. Unfortunately it looks like there aren't any bunnies around here, but she does have all of these shells that she could collect. Look at all those shells. Why don't we move you right here and then you can kind of like dip your nimble fingers in and try to grab all of these shells in the water. We even have some fish over here too. Have we ever seen fish on this island before? Look at you guys. Okay, so we could bring somebody over here with the claw or the fishing tail and maybe they could gather up some fish too. But for now we will just stick to our shells because we know that they're going to give us a ton of food. Now I believe Rain and Maple are both getting very, very old. Yeah, unfortunately Maple is going to be passing away on this turn and Rain is going to be passing away in just a couple of days too. So she doesn't have much longer to make sure that her son, her pacifist son, is actually gathering his berries and not giving them to the bunnies. She's going to have to try to find somebody who can take on her job, I think, just to make sure. And honestly, Elm is probably the best one. She could still keep an eye on the bunny burrow in the area to make sure that everything is good. They're collecting all the food that they need to. But I think Timber, on the other hand, is probably going to start making a journey of his own pretty soon too. His family is really kind of falling apart around him. Everyone is very, very sick. So I feel like maybe he would try to find some legendary healing fruit that he has heard so much about. Now, unfortunately, since this is technically the beginner island, we're not actually going to be able to find the healing fruits in the grass, or at least as far as I know, I have never managed to find a healing fruit on one of the starter islands. So this is kind of a futile effort, but at the same time, he wants to have that chance to maybe bring back something that's going to make his family healthy again. So he is going to start making his way down the shore too. He could go down this way where he saw, of course, Nova disappear off to, and meanwhile, Ismeem, you can go ahead and collect your shells and whatnot. She is also a little bit of a pacifist too. She is not really the type of a creature who likes to go around slaying moles and bunnies, as we have found. So she's going to stay by the shores and just try to keep her little niece and her brother company, of course. Let's have Ash go ahead and pick up his berries and his acorns, and then maybe we could have Rain at least knock down some more acorns for him. There we go. And then she could come over here to spend some time with her mate, since this is going to be his very last day. He can go ahead and pick up his berries, and I think that's honestly all that he has left to do. We could have him scoot over here and pick up some grass for us just to hopefully gather up some more nesting material, but otherwise they're going to spend some of their final days right next to each other and keeping each other company. Now you can go ahead and pick up your acorns again, and we can move the little baby Ebony right out of the nest. Oh my gosh, she has tiny little frog toes too. Oh, that is so adorable. Not very helpful on land, unfortunately, so she's going to be a little bit slower than some of the other creatures, but that is absolutely adorable. Let's have Ismeem come over here to pick up this last acorn, and then I think we are very, very close to being done with our turns. We just have Driftwood over here, who of course needs to pick up his acorns as well and knock down some more for himself. And then we also have Quicksand. Quicksand, who is a little bit hurt after the last episode. She did unfortunately stumble in the water and she ended up drowning a little bit. So even though this particular layer of land still has this little paw print on it, it seems like if you put one of your creatures too deep in the water, they do end up drowning now. So we're going to have to be very, very careful as we maneuver the two sisters around this area. Like, I guess this is just a particularly rough part of the sea. So let's move Quicksand up this way. We'll move her to this island right here so that she's still right nearby her sister, and her sister should be able to hopefully find her. Let's actually connect the darkness. She could sit right here. I don't think that's too deep for her. It looks like she's okay. And then we just have Oak and Juniper way, way back here who need to do something. Oh my goodness, with the carnivore. Really, little bunny? Oh my gosh, this bunny must be terrified of the carnivore right now. I think that is the case, and he has come over here to like hide right underneath Oak. Oh, that is adorable. I don't think I can kill this one, guys. I don't think I can kill this little bunny. I think we're going to have to let this one live. So maybe we can start moving Oak like around the carnivore again. I think it'll be a little bit too risky to move him in front of the carnivore because he might end up seeing Oak in the grass. So why don't we have Oak start moving this way? I mean, I know that we just placed him out there to find the carnivore, but we want him in a better position if he is going to try to attack. So if we move Juniper a little bit closer to the grass too, then we might be able to move Oak right out. Let's see, if Juniper goes maybe over here, can he make his way out? Not just yet. How about that? We have all of these little bunnies hopping around here too. Yeah, now Oak can go way over here. He can hop right over. And then if we move Juniper like maybe this way, again, I don't want them too close to the grass because then we're risking the carnivore actually jumping out and attacking them before we can move. But if they're just close enough, then maybe we can actually lure this guy out from hiding and then swarm him. So let's see if this works, I guess. We of course have a couple of babies being born on this turn, but we definitely want to turn our attentions to the carnivore. So I don't think we can actually smell it or hear it anymore, so let's just pass the day and see if it pops out anywhere. I don't really hear anything getting attacked out in the grass at the very least, so that's a good sign, but let's see. Can we smell it? Can we hear it? No, it seems like it definitely either moved further into the grass or has disappeared completely. So I guess we probably want Juniper to take the lead here. We probably want her to dive into the grass because she does have that big nose. And we have a little mole over here too. Okay, so let's sniff around again and see if she can smell anything. No, this is a little bit worrying now. Let's move Oak a little bit closer. We do have a nest back here. Okay, maybe that's why. There he is. That carnivore was lurking around here because there is a nest. So maybe it knew that somebody was going to come back here and try to use it later. But the carnivore is still in the area. The thing is, it's definitely moving away from us. So the carnivore is not interested in our little tribe way out in the open, which is quite interesting. I'm really surprised that it never picked up our scent over here. I mean, we are literally right out in the open. I guess maybe it could be because we do have a little bit of a boosted camouflage. Since so many of our creatures are dark, they have that brown fur color. That's really the only reason I can think of at this point. But why don't we at the very least have Juniper go ahead and grab up this mole for us? Oh my goodness. And then Willow, you're going to have to grab this bunny for us. And then we can gather up all of this meat so we have plenty of food for the pack later on. Now let's see, oh my gosh, what these babies are going to look like. Oh my goodness, are you okay, sir? We have this guy like drowning in the water over here. That is not good. Can we pull you out somehow? It looks like he's not even fully grown either. This is like a little teenager just stuck in the water, and unfortunately he is in the absolute worst location too. How on earth am I going to pull you out? We're going to have Shadow like loop his way way around, but even so, he's not going to be able to get to you unless you move. Let's see, how are we going to do this? Maybe Galaxy could go around instead? Though it's going to take him a little while to get there, and I'm afraid that this guy is going to completely drown in the stream. Oh, this is not good. Let's move Umbra over here so that we can move a little bit deeper at once, and oh no, he has disappeared, hasn't he? Okay, so at least he managed to get out of the water himself, but now I have no idea where he is. Oh my gosh, really? You are moving downstream right now. This is not good. Maybe he's getting swept away. Okay, Seashell, maybe you could come over here and try to find him instead? He's like stuck in this darkness over here. This is the absolute worst place for you to be. I guess Shadow could possibly make it a little bit closer now. There we go. Maybe he's making his way up to the shore. Let's move Shadow right here and finally invite this poor guy. Get out of the water, you. This is not good. Oh my gosh, this poor little guy. So he is a teenager. He's not even fully grown. He has a spit snout. He does have a mutagen C too, which is completely different from all of the other creatures in our pack. So it looks like we're going to have another creature on our hands who might be good to breed with our females just because we need that extra immunity gene. He has one slot of hemophilia though, and of course he also has the blind eyes hidden away in his genetics, so we're going to have to keep a very close eye on that. But otherwise, I mean, you have had quite a day, little guy, haven't you? But now let's finally take a closer look at this baby over here, this poor little baby who is kind of like shoved aside with all of that chaos going around. So we do have the nope on this baby, unfortunately, and the melanism, though he has the cracker jaw, which is quite interesting. Do they both have the cracker jaw in their genetics? No, it was just Shadow who was kind of carrying it in his inactive slot, so that's quite interesting. This little baby managed to pull that out of his father's genetics instead. And of course the melanism too, like that's going to be a little bit of a problem because we do actually want to try to breed the melanism out. That's not going to help us in the jungle because just like little Umbra, it's going to be easier for the predators to actually find our creatures if they have the melanism trait. He did have the warning dots in his genetics though, I believe. Let's see if we can click on him again. There we go. Yeah, he would have had the warning dots if he didn't have the melanism trait. So if only, but that does mean that maybe their future babies will also be able to inherit the warning dots, so that's a good thing. Let's go ahead and have Galaxy pick up this meat back here though, and then I think we probably want him to follow his brother into the territory as soon as possible. Though we should probably have Twilight come over here and breed with her mate again. She could possibly drop down another nest right here if we wanted to. Yeah, why don't we go ahead and do that? We'll drop a nest right here and we'll see if maybe she can have another baby on the next turn. And then Umbra, you are also going to have to make your way into the territory following your brothers to make sure that you're safe. But we do have a second baby to take a look at too, so let's go way back here and see. Oh my gosh, this one. Look at you. You have the crown of ram horns. How long has it been since we last saw the crown of ram horns? Oh my gosh, she is actually pretty darn good too with her double nimble fingers, so she did actually inherit both of the nimble fingers on her parents. She has a stinky tail, of course, which we knew was going to happen, and she's healthy too, which I am very glad to see. I do know that Rokirku and Nova both have immunity gene A, but my thought was that it would be a little bit more beneficial to us if the babies ended up having double immunity gene A over like double immunity gene F. That would at least give us a way to possibly breed the sick creatures later on, because of course so many of the babies over on the other side of the territory have that double F problem. But she is very, very healthy, and I'm so glad to see that. And of course she has that gorgeous crown of ram horns too. So I think we'll actually keep her name as Anara. Rokirku will be the kind of creature to, I guess, name his children in the old ways of the old tribe. And Anara is a pretty adorable name anyway. I mean, you have to give them that. So let's have Nova at least move out of the nest so that she can gather up some food and pick up some of the grass too. And then we can have Rokirku come over here and do the same, just to kind of spread out the territory a little bit. They didn't spend too long here, even though this was where he was born. So most of it is still full of grass and of course full of bunnies too. There are tons and tons of bunnies everywhere all around the island, and speaking of which, let's just make sure that nobody's stealing our berries. I think we're okay. It looks like there aren't any bunnies out just yet. We could sniff around though, because I'm sure that Elm is going to want to hopefully snag a bunny as soon as possible, but it looks like you are out of luck, little Elm, so you're just going to have to try your best to gather up all of these shells in the water. And honestly, that is just fine. I mean, you have so many shells that you can collect. That is going to be a ton of food for the pack. It looks like we can have Ebony take on her second gem too. There we go. So you're already growing up, little one. That should mean that you can collect these acorns now. There we go. And then we can have you go ahead and pick up your berries and knock down your acorns too. And I think also, of course, Maple has passed away back here, and this is Rain's very last day now too. So why don't you go ahead and pick up from your mate's berry bush? And then I feel like she would really want to spend her final day right where she was born, because this tree held so much sentimental value for her. And in fact, we could have her pick up this very final acorn right here, just like she did when she was a little baby in the nest. Do you guys remember that? That was so long ago now. She actually managed to pick up this giant acorn that was sitting right on the shores. So she at the very least is going to be surrounded by so much of her family as she passes away. We'll keep them all very close by, except of course for Timber, who is still going to try to make his way down the shores and find some way to bring health back to his family. He is very, very worried about all of these sick creatures, and in fact I believe like Ash and Ismeem, and then we have a Midnight way back here, are all going to be passing away very soon. So at the very least you can go ahead and pick up from your berry bush, and then maybe scoot over here and pick up some shells too. I mean, she has been very good at collecting food for us, but unfortunately she's not going to last much longer. Now Ismeem, why don't you come around here to sit with your mother and light up the area a little bit more for her too, and then I think we'll leave everyone else right there where they are. Now I think after seeing the way that Quicksand kind of hurt herself in the water before, Seafoam might insist that maybe they take a break from wandering around in the ocean. So she'll pick up this last shell, and then she'll very carefully maneuver her way over to her sister's island, where they can find a bunny. Okay, are you trying to steal our shells now? I don't think bunnies are meant to eat the shells, so you probably shouldn't do that. We definitely need those shells for ourselves. But yeah, we're going to have Quicksand maybe make her way down this way and very carefully yet again maneuver around all of this ocean, though she could actually grab this bunny for us. There we go. So one extra sneaky little bunny as we make our way over to the mainland again. Now I think the last moves we need to make back here are just with Juniper and her family. So Juniper is all tired out now, but Oak does have one more turn. Now again, I don't want him to get too close, and the carnivore is right there. He's just 2 tiles away from them, so if he does end up smelling Oak, then that is going to spell disaster for him, especially because he's getting really, really old. I suppose we could have him move right over to this nest, and we'll just see what happens. Like, we'll see if maybe that's close enough for him to notice Oak. I'm not sure. Like, I am very, very curious to see exactly how these camouflage and stealth skills work anyway. So Oak, you are going to have to be our little guinea pig at the moment, I guess. We can have Willow go ahead and pick up her berries though, and our little bunny friend is coming out to say hi again. Are you worried about us, little guy? I think Oak will be okay. I hope so anyway. I'm sure he will be with you watching over him at the very least. But Spruce can go ahead and pick up his soggy acorns, and then Nebula could actually come over here and knock down a few more for him. There we go. And she'll be able to pick up the acorns right next to the tree on the next turn too, when she has a little bit more energy. But I think we are all out of turns now, so let's go back here and just watch Oak yet again and see what happens. Cross your fingers. Oh my gosh, the carnivore actually went between them? Really? You didn't notice this at all? Okay, well this is like the perfect situation, because now we can actually just completely swarm this guy. We should be able to take him out very easily between them both. So let's have Oak attack him first, because this is like his nemesis, and then Juniper could actually go ahead and take care of him the rest of the way, and there we go. We have finally vanquished that carnivore. So let's have Oak go ahead and gather up all of the meat so they can take it back to all of their friends out here, and we do have another bunny over here. Well, unfortunately for you, little bunny, Willow doesn't feel the same way about you as Oak does, so she is definitely going to swipe you up and gather you up for the meat. But I'm pretty sure we have another baby to take a look at, right? Oh my gosh, yes we do. Do we have our very first toxic-bodied baby? I'm pretty sure we do. There we go. So we managed to actually mutate the toxic body on Twilight's babies just like we were hoping to. Alright, so the toxic body gives the creatures this kind of like neon appearance now. I have seen like blue creatures, purple creatures, but of course our first toxic-bodied baby is going to be this beautiful golden daughter. And of course she has managed to inherit the cracker jaw from her father's genetics too, which is very, very interesting. I mean, that is going to help us later on if we do need to crack open the shells or the acorns or whatnot in the jungle. But as far as names go for their babies, I thought it would be particularly fitting if we named them after maybe poisonous plants or even snakes or something like that. So for this one, why don't we go ahead and name her Snakeweed. I think that would be a good name for her. And then I do remember that we didn't actually name this little boy back here either, so why don't we go ahead and name him Hemlock. Now it looks like the younger of the brothers have also completely grown up too, so we could actually start moving you guys a little bit further down too. We could move you down right into the middle of the territory and just try to spread out this area a little bit more to light it up better for us. We do want Umbra to keep away from all of this tall grass after all, so let's move him out here too. And maybe they could actually make their way down the shore as well. It might be a little bit safer for Umbra if he was on the beach anyway. And for that matter, this is their very first time seeing the beach too, so I'm sure they're very curious about what they're going to find here. I think on the next turn when they have a little bit more energy, we'll have them kind of scoot their way down the shore and just see what else they can find. Now we do of course have this brand new baby over here, Roduke, who I hope has managed to heal up overnight. Hopefully he is feeling a little bit more well rested after that crazy day that he had getting stuck in the water. Let's just let him take it easy for now, I guess. We'll go ahead and have him pick the berries. He can go ahead and swipe up all of the berries on this bush, and then maybe we should have Shadow kind of clear out a little bit more of this area too, because it is very clogged up with grass at the moment. We could have Twilight come over here though, maybe. She could go right here so she can still breed with her mate, and then we could maybe have the baby move out of the nest so that she can use it on this turn. Let's see, can she get all the way over there? Yes, she definitely can. She has a very wide range, so she can have another baby on the next turn too. And Seashell, I do remember that you actually wanted to find your very own berry bush across the water. Now I do remember that she was smelling something over on this side, so I think if we maybe dunk her in the water very quickly, she should be safe. It doesn't seem to work the same way as the ocean does, so I'm not sure if that's just a glitch, if they're supposed to be able to cross the water safely or not, but it does definitely seem like the stream is okay as long as you take them right out of the water before you pass the day. So let's see, there is a berry bush right down here. Maybe this is the one that she smelled before. Let's have her start moving down toward this way so that she can hopefully settle down right next to a berry bush of her very own. And for that matter, it's so close to the beach too. I think she's going to feel quite at home over here because she does of course miss the beach. That was right where she was born, way over on one of these islands where her mother had set up a little nursery. But Driftwood, on your very final day, why don't you go ahead and just collect all of your acorns yet again. Luckily he won't have to worry too much because we do have so many crackerjawed babies back here that I'm sure one of them can come over here and take up his job for him too. Now before we end out the episode, why don't we make sure that these sisters are all nice and settled. We can have Quicksand of course pick up the meat that she found on the previous turn, and then we definitely want Seafoam to make her way right over here to dry land. So they definitely prefer staying right next to the water of course, just like Seashell is going to. But I think Seafoam just wants a little bit of a break to make sure that Quicksand is okay and that she's not going to get hurt again. So let's move Quicksand right up to solid land over here, and maybe this is where they could make camp, right next to the seaside too, so she can still pick up her shells. Technically, if they spawn in the area, she'll still be able to find shells for them to eat, but they'll be a little bit safer on this high solid land. We actually have a little shell right over here too that she could pick up, and for that matter, we also have a bunny way off in the grass that I'm sure Quicksand is very interested in right now. So in the next episode, we'll have to see if maybe they can start a camp here of their very own. We do still of course want them to start a family, and we do have these two brothers making their way down the shore as well, so maybe we could actually have them start a family of their very own. That might be a good idea. I mean, Umbra doesn't have the no-paw, so we wouldn't have to worry about that if maybe he bred with Quicksand. That might be particularly helpful because then maybe we could actually get those double-clawed babies from her to hopefully take to the next island to at the very least keep us safe from the carnivores and whatnot. We do know that the carnivores are alive and well on our islands after all, so we need to make sure that we're going to be able to protect ourselves from them. But for now, thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you all next time. Bye guys!